Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Pick Six. I'm your host, Mike Wobschall at TCO Performance Center with your questions. Let's get to work. Question number one comes from Lucas. Seemed like we waited too long to try and involve Diggs and Thielen. Also, Cousins threw some pretty poor interceptions. Any thoughts on this? Yeah, the Vikings offense was slow to go at Soldier Field, but we did see some good things in the second half, so the Vikings can use some of that tape for their next game against the Bears coming up at the end of the season. As for the interceptions, head coach Mike Zimmer said the first one was a miscommunication and the second one was a poor read, so some things to clean up for the game coming up against Green Bay. Question number two comes from Andrew. Any chance on seeing another shuffle of offensive linemen to help protect our quarterback? No, Andrew, I think that's the last thing the Vikings offensive line needs. It needs to gain synergy. These guys need to keep learning how to play together. This offensive line has seen some lineup changes because of injuries. Hopefully now they can get settled in with a healthy group and get better each week. The next question comes from Viking Joe. Cousins holds the ball too long in crucial situations. We need quicker strikes for those third and longs. Better yet, Joe, let's not get into third and long. A good way to avoid those situations, run the ball better, win on first and second down. The Vikings face the 26th ranked rushing defense this week against the Green Bay Packers. Would be a good time to get the running game going. Next question comes from Leroy. Who stood out in that game? I want to hear your thoughts, but I think Danielle Hunter was patient all night trying to get to Trubisky. Yeah, I think the Vikings defense played pretty well throughout the course of the game. Anthony Harris had 2 interceptions. Eric Kendricks was all over the field as well. And I agree, Danielle Hunter had a good game. For the Vikings offense, it was fun to watch Stephon Diggs get 10 catches and over 100 yards. He looked fresh, healthy, and ready to go. Can't wait to watch him against the Packers on Sunday. The next question comes from Robert. Do you think the Vikings still have a chance to win the division after losing to Chicago? Well, there's no doubt the Bears are now in the driver's seat in the NFC North. So if the Vikings are going to defend their title, they're going to have to win a bunch of games down the stretch. Here's the good news. They do play the Bears one more time this season. So if they can pull to within a game or within a tie with the final week to go, they have a shot to win the division. A lot of football left to be played. The final question comes from Rick in North Carolina. Do you think teams are wasting money paying for high-cost defensive players, considering the limited way they can make plays? Well, I can see why you would think that after watching this week's Monday night game, the first game in history where both teams scored more than 50 points. But look at the Vikings game against the Bears. One of the biggest difference makers in that game was Khalil Mack. He was a one-man wrecking crew. So you still need to make plays on defense. At the end of the day, when you get late into the game, your defense is going to be on the field and you're going to need them to make plays. That's the identity of the Vikings team under head coach Mike Zimmer, and I expect the identity of the team to carry them through the final 6 games of the season. That's it for this week's edition of the Pick Six. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you submit your questions into the email address at the bottom of the screen, and we'll see you next week.